Hello everyone, this is Rex Red. I am back with another tutorial in DAZ Studio and some very fun, uplifting music to start us off with. Today we are working with the program that is called One-Click PBR Skin. One-Click PBR Skin. This product just came out today, and so you can find it in the DAZ store. And what I'm going to do is show you how this product works. Never enough guitars. I saw this on DAZ store. Curious how easy it is. All right, awesome. Well, you're going to get to find out because I have been working for the last like 4 hours with this program. I try to go through and learn this stuff before I go live, but I'm not going to waste your time. We're going to go right to it. So what we're going to do is this is a good product, okay? I'm liking it a lot. It really in some ways it doesn't hardly do anything, but in some ways it does like a lot. So it all depends on your perspective of how you look at it, okay? So you can take your Genesis 8 characters and do this one-click switch, and it is one click. Whoever made this didn't lie about it. It's one click. So what we're going to do now is we're going to find a Genesis 8 figure, and I think we'll find Calla, and Callan. We'll use Callan. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit with my camera so that we can put some clothes on Callan. And we'll zoom in and come up a little bit. Let's get out of Iray. It gives me the ability to put a little bit of clothing on him before so we're going to double click and bring Callan into the scene. He is a Genesis 8 figure. And he's one of my favorite characters because his skin is so kind of, it's not like one color. It's got blemishes and little discolorations, and especially like in his ear. And if you notice, he's got some detail to his skin for a Genesis 8 character. And he's also shaped pretty well. He's got a nice face and all. So it's a good character to work with. He's not the character, incidentally, that I worked with earlier today, but we shall see. Oh, there's his head. Okay, so what we'll do is put some pants on him. And we've got Callan. We're going to go to my scripts, and I've just got a pair of underwear that we can throw on him. Okay, so there he is. And we're going to now take a look. So it's pretty easy. What I've done is I'll show you how this happens to come in. If you set your product ID up so it's highest first, that's this little drop down in your default settings here. Highest first. Once you purchase this product, it will show as having the highest number, like catalog number. So these are the latest things that I've bought. Well, they're not the latest things I've bought. They're the latest new things that I bought. So if you sort by highest first, it will take the latest, highest catalog numbers, because the catalogs keep just going up and up and up and up. So if you click on this and you go to the utilities, There's two scripts for changing PBR, and then there's two scripts for changing gamma, and then there's four scripts for changing roughness, which is the shine on their skin. So that's pretty cut and dry, and it's pretty easy to use. So you select Callan, and I'm not really sure the difference between Keep Translucency and Create Translucency, other than the fact that where it says here, it's for Genesis 2, 3, and Genesis 8. And then it's got this, and there is a guide, which I didn't read. But, and then this one just says it's for Genesis 8. So apparently what's kind of self-explanatory about this is that what it implies is that Genesis 8 already usually has a transparency, where Genesis 2 and 3 probably don't, but you can also opt to change the transparency. So I'm just going to leave the transparency, and we're going to go with this Genesis 8 version. So what I personally did was I right-clicked here and I said Create Custom Action. And when you do, then if you put like PBR Skin here and you pick either favorites or scripts, then it will put them up here. So I'm not going to do it because I've already done this, but I did it with all of these except for the guide. And I put them all in my favorites, so I can come in to this PBR. And because every time I use a Genesis 8 figure, I will want to convert their skin to PBR. And there's just a lot more that PBR does that Iray doesn't. And I am not going to pretend to be an expert at this. I know there's like, I think top coat, and there's also well, I'll show you some of the different parameters. So what we're going to do is keep the translucency, and I'm going to select that, and it takes a good while. It's one click, okay? So to do this, to change his skin from Uber Base Iray to PBR Skin, which is the skin that Genesis 8.1 uses. It began with 8.1. And what's really weird to me is it's almost like they're going back to 3 to Light, because I was under the impression that 3 to Light was PBR Skin. And then suddenly they are, now, okay, so this is done. And I think, yeah, it's done. And if you look at Callan, and the first thing you want to look at is their arms right about here, and make sure there's no seam. Okay. Now, if you notice, Callan has some freckles, and his skin is just really kind of natural for, and if you notice in his ear, and his face has some kind of like a little bit of, just kind of acne sort of. He's got a little thing in his ear, and so that's why I like him. And it's nice to use his skin on other Genesis 8 figures if their skin isn't very detailed. So I've gotten to the point where I can kind of look at a figure and say, oh, they used Callan's skin. And it's basically because of that little dot in the ear, that little spot that he has, a blemish of some sort. So maybe he caught it on a tree branch out in the woods, or something. But so this is, after you put this on, now I'm not going to say that there's no difference, because I have some Genesis 8 figures that when I put them in, they look pale. So we're going to go to Iray here while I'm talking. And they look very pale. Now, something definitely is wrong with the shine, okay? Because I don't think Callan is normally that shiny. So that's what these other things are for. This is the first time I've had to adjust the shine, and I can't tell you what I would do. Normally is I would take and put Callan in twice, and one of them I would leave the other skin on, and then the other one I would put this product on. But I tried that earlier, and when you put the product, when you run these scripts, I think there's a bug in the script. It doesn't mean they don't work. It just means that you can't have the same figure twice in the scene. Because it will, if you run the script, it will change both of their, these are the gamma and roughness. Okay, so what we would want to do is go to skin roughness, and we would, that's all the way up. We'd want, oh, it's already rough. So that doesn't help at all. So the only way to fix this is to go in and do it manually, because it's already, the roughness is all the way up. So there's got to be something else here. Luckily, I know a little bit about this. So we might be able to go and fix this by... Now, I have another program that I use, and it is called Skin Manager. I don't know if you have it, but I use it a lot. It just saves me from having to try every dial, you know, until their skin gets fixed. And I'm not saying I don't know anything about textures. I know quite a bit, but there is so much to know about changing textures. So I'm going to go down now into, I would recommend buying both Skin Managers. There's Skin Manager for Genesis 8 and Skin Manager for Genesis 8.1. The Skin Manager for the Uber, and there's Skin Manager for the PBR. Now, I've got to go into utilities, I believe it is. And it's this black one, I think. And there's a black one and a brown one, as you can see. I believe this one says Iray Skin Manager. And this one says PBR. So let's see if this works now. It would certainly be a test to see if indeed it thinks that this is a PBR skin. So let's now open this. Please work. And it works. So this is a good test. This tells us that this skin is now PBR. So you go to gloss and bump, and you just look how high that is. And you just bring that down. Now that's too low. This DLS reflectivity, it works every time. And it just fixes the shine on the skin. Now, if you want them to look like they just got out of the water, yeah, okay, and you can also bring up some of these other DLS things to make it even more wet. But you don't want to take the shine all the way out. You want to leave enough so that his skin looks like a little bit shiny. That's a little too much, though. Yeah, so it has a little bit of shine left in it. So, these very nice lady, and she that showcases this ultimate PBR Skin Manager, and she also has a tutorial that you can buy, where she teaches about Iray and PBR Skin. I'm not sure. She goes over like every detail about skin, and that's sold also in the Daz store. And she also is associated. I think she's part of a team of people that created this product, the ultimate PBR Skin Manager. And as you can see, once you put that PBR skin on, it's really, and another thing, it's kind of easy here where you have these two dials. And if you take this translucency weight down, their skin gets lighter. It's just kind of easy to do. And if you bring it up all the way, it gets darker. And so there's a lot of red in there. So you could take, and Callan's has a lot of red in his skin. So you can take some of that out and some of the green out. And some of this red out. Now it's got blue. He's got red. See, it's red, green, green, blue. So that's how this works. So then you bring this down a little bit. And then, or up a little bit. I think you can type the number in you want as well. Yeah. So I don't think you can stretch this. Yeah, you can. So you can get more fine with this when you drag it. So, and get it to just the right tint that you want. And so this kind of taught me about managing skin. Now this SS and transmitted color, I cannot tell you what they do. All I know is it's just like the opposite. You pick orange and it makes his skin green. You pick green and it makes his skin orange. I don't know, but this is kind of the heart of what PBR skin is. This SSS color and all that. I don't understand it, and I bought her tutorials and I still don't understand. I mean, and I listened to them twice. That's how complicated PBR skin is. So I would recommend getting both of these products because they make it really easy to get rid of the darn shine in their skin. Sometimes you go in and you turn up the roughness and it just doesn't work. And she has made it very easy to do. So we're going to go now. We're going to rinse and repeat. We're going to do this. We're going to put another figure in, and we're going to do the same thing. We'll do it for a few figures, and just put some figures into the scene. Bring this back down. Well, thank you, Ed. I'm glad you are enjoying it, and welcome to the tutorial today. So, yes, these PBR skins, it's such a complicated subject that I only know maybe, I don't want to be exact because I don't even know how little I know. But I only know a fraction of what there is to know about these people. Now, is this Pablo? Pablo is 8-1, so he's already PBR. So is Alex Capital. Okay. Now, so is Rocco. Rocco has some of the most amazing skin because he's got that redness, that blush naturally in his skin. He is a great character to use. Now this is, I think, okay, so let's find another Genesis 8 figure. I have a ton of them. So we will find one here. Another good one is Holt because he has incredibly good like detailed skin. So we'll put him into here now. That's really what I look for. Now, what's really nice now, because this is going to be kind of all about skin stuff. So there's another product that just came out in the Daz store, and it gives you freckles and blemishes and moles and stuff like that. Now, the thing is that once you put, don't be confused, because once you put once you put the PBR base on a Genesis 8 figure, that doesn't mean that you can then put a Genesis 8.1 skin on them. Okay, that it doesn't change the UV maps. Okay, it just changes the base, okay, of the skin. So you can still only use Genesis 8. So if I were to take this guy here, Holt, and convert his skin to PBR and then say, oh, I'd rather put Callan's skin on him, so I can still do that. I can just put Callan's skin on him. Then I've got to go back and re-convert Callan's skin, okay? So because that's how it works. So you can't take it. I think there are converters out there, I'm not sure, like a bodysuit type of converter, where you can put Genesis 8.1 skin on a Genesis 8 figure or Genesis 8 skin on an 8.1. I'm not sure exactly about that, but I just know they don't work. So, and it has to do with the neck. They changed the neck and gave the neck a little more real estate so that it has more detail in the Genesis 8 figures. Welcome, Anus. No. Genesis 9 is already PBR, okay? So you don't need to convert Genesis. PBR began with Genesis 8.1. So if you notice that, like, your Genesis 8.1 figures had more stuff in the surfaces. So what we're talking about is when you go to surfaces here and you click on the surfaces tab, and then you click on this and you click on, say, skin, and you go to surfaces down here, and let's just say we'll click on the torso. What it means is you have more options here, okay? Like this transmitted color and the SS scatter, SS color, and top coat. These things are new. I think the top coat's new. So a lot of these things, now there's dual lobe, and a lot of this stuff is new. And it began with Genesis 8.1, and it continues on through Genesis 9. So this is for Genesis 8, and I have a lot of Genesis 8 figures, and I love the Genesis 8 skin. So, all right, we're going to progress here a little bit more. And so we're going to go up to my PBR thing that I created, and we're going to keep the transparency because he's a Genesis 8 figure, and maybe we'll even try doing this on it like a Genesis 3 figure, maybe the generic Genesis 3 figure. We'll switch them over to PBR because the Genesis 3 figures, when I put them into a scene, their skin is just terrible. And let's see what this does for it. Now, pay attention, because if you'll notice, his skin looks a little bit too shiny. As you know, this is before we put. So to my aesthetic eye, you know, I would go in and use that program and take some of the shine off his skin because it's just too much. So, but now we're going to switch him, convert him to PBR. And what this is doing is it's converting every texture, all of the translucency textures, if there are normal maps and all of that, it's changing at least 100 images. I'm just kind of guessing roughly in the figure, because even his eye textures get converted to this. So every texture on, I think, except his eyebrows, if the eyebrows are fiber, I don't think it does anything with them. But it does do something with them if they're painted on. Okay, so it will change the skin, and it will leave the painted on eyebrows. And if you have a figure with no eyebrows, then it will just, it just kind of pulls the rug out from under it and takes all the images. It does a flawless job with this, okay, of just changing the whole base to, now he looks a little bit lighter in my opinion. So he didn't come out with, and his skin doesn't look quite as shiny. So there's a very, very slight difference in, and every figure that you convert is different. Some of them have a large difference, and usually they look better. Okay, usually they look better. I've not seen one look worse right out of the box. That's what this is called, out of the box. So I've not seen any of them. Well, that's what I'm calling this. It's a one-click PBR skin out of the box. And I haven't seen any come out worse. I've seen a lot of them come out like identical, where you just couldn't tell the difference. So I think his skin is still a little bit shiny. So we can go back to this product here. And I really want to stress how awesome this Skin Manager is. And you would, I would suggest purchasing the PBR, purchasing this skin converter, okay, the PBR Skin Converter, and the Uber, the PBR Skin Manager, and just exclusively work with PBR Skin. Because so you just take and convert their skin to PBR, and you won't need this Iray manager if you just put your Genesis 8 or Genesis 3 or Genesis 2 figure into the scene. You put them into the scene, convert them to PBR, and then if you want to do some tweaking and you don't want to go through all those numbers to find out how to do it, you have this Skin Manager that helps, and I'll run over the Skin Manager enough times. Yeah, well, it's you learn. That's what this is. That's what this is about. It's about learning about this stuff. Yes, and what's kind of weird. So there's stuff I don't know, Anu. So there's things like that. 3Delight has also, I've heard that called PBR, and PBR stands for physics-based rendering. And I believe what that means is the physics-based rendering actually, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it literally means you can defy physics, okay? Is that you can do things that are not possible in the physical world. And I'm just kind of being cynical about that, because it's like it's touted as being physics-based rendering, but it actually enables you to break some rules. Now, I could be wrong about that, but I know that that's the case with 3Delight. And then when Iray came out, they kind of went purist on us, and they said, no, we don't want rules broken. We want only physics-based things, because it's too complicated if we give you both. And so, but they have gone and given us physics-based these PBR textures for the skin and all. And there's something else like going on here, because I think the skin textures, if you've noticed that they're in the surfaces, that for hair there's this other thing that's I don't know when that it may have come out also with Genesis 8.1. All right, so we're going to open this up now, and we're going to run this, make sure that because this will not load if it doesn't convert the PBR textures right. If it finds even one texture that is not PBR, this will not load. So this is a great test, and there it is. So now what we can do is, I still look at him and see he's got way too much shine on his skin. And that's I think that his skin color, maybe it could be a tiny bit darker, but just because he's kind of a ruddy guy. So we could go a little bit darker here with this skin. And if you want to go even darker, you can just take this and drop it down a little bit. And then you're dropping the red, green. And now when I look at this, he's got too much blue. So we bring that up. And we'll bring the red all the way up. And and it's a little bit more green. And so, okay. So this is how you have to learn red, green, blue. You know, it's like we all know RGB. Well, luckily that's how this is set up. This is red, this is green, and this is blue. Okay, and so you look at your character and say, you know, he's still a little too blue. So let's just bring it down a little bit more. And you see now we've got a nice color. This is how you bring, I used to call it the word gamut, where I'd have two figures that look terrible together because their skin they were not, one of them's all red and the other one is like green, you know, and they just don't fit together. Well, this is how you do it. You don't touch the base color. You leave them. And this translucency color is the color that's under the base color. It's under their skin. So the base color sits on top, and this is like off. So there's no base color at all right now. It's all the translucency color. And they both have the same moles and textures and blemishes. They both have the same skin maps. But this one shines through, if you shine a light through, so it gets complicated, okay? It gets into physics. Yes, you do need the product. I mean, I can't tell you what you need, okay, exactly. But yes, you need to purchase. I would suggest purchasing the converter so you can make all your Genesis 8 figures in your scene PBR. It gives you more power over them, okay, over their skin, okay? It just does. It's nice to have the PBR. It really renders well, and I believe it also works better. I think like the industry standard is PBR. So when you export your figures out into Blender and Unreal, they're expecting a PBR PBR texture on them. So you have it, okay? So you don't necessarily need to convert your characters to Genesis 9. You've got your PBR color, your texture already on them. So we're going to go into gloss here. And now we bring this gloss down. It's like all the way up. And suddenly he's like, now he doesn't have that massively glossy skin. but I'm going to give them a little bit. And they're always different. It's always weird. I think it has to do with these ratios and these lobes. All of this stuff is it's more complex than Uber Iray. So it just prepares your Genesis 8 characters for other purposes as well. So you don't have to convert them to Genesis 9. As long as you have enough clothing that's Genesis 8 and all, which the majority of my clothing is all for Genesis 8 and Genesis 8.1. Why convert him to Genesis 9 at all? So there it is. There's he's ready to use. Look how natural his color looks, and which means that I can bring another figure in and have them look so one of them's not like all red and the other one is kind of blue, and they just from one artist vendor to another, they favor, it all depends on how calibrated their monitor is. And like I'm looking at this on my TV and he looks all red, but on my computer monitor he looks fine. So he might have a little too much green, but I think you just balance it. So, and you learn to look at his color and say, oh, you have too much blue. You have too much green. You got red, green, and blue. And you can look at their skin and say, he's just got too much blue. Your eye learns to see those colors. And it doesn't take much, just a little bit of fiddling around with those red, green, and blue in your, and let's go to surfaces here. I'll show you where they are. It seems as though I've kind of made things more complicated. But if you purchase these products, and I don't make any money from this, okay? I don't even know the person who made this product. But this PBR Skin, okay, you use this to convert their skin to PBR. And PBR Skin is very complicated, okay? It's more complicated than Iray. It has more features, more sliders, more things that you slide them and they don't do anything, and you wonder why. Well, you can do that also in Iray. You can match the colors. It also does work with the anatomical elements. So if you have them on your figure, it will take and convert them to PBR as well. So you just make sure it's on your figure, and it will convert all the skin on the figure, as long as it's in the hierarchy here of your character. It will convert them. I don't really use anatomical elements in any of my artwork, so it's not an issue for me. But I do and I haven't tested it out, but I do remember reading it in the literature on this PBR Skin, one-click PBR, that it does do anatomical elements as well. So if they're on your figure and then you run this script to convert, so the PBR Skin, does the conversion. So this PBR Skin product, you select your character and you come here and you run, for Genesis 8, you run this Keep Translucency. And it converts. It converts, and it's once that's done converting, all of these things in your surfaces are different. They're not all of them, but a lot of new things, a lot of new sliders to slide up and down, and nothing happens. And you wonder, what does that do? But eventually, over time, you'll learn them, okay? Because the Genesis 9 figures have this as well. I'm just as baffled by these things as you, all right? So the SS has to do with the way the sun reflects through things and what color it's going to be. That's why it's pink, like, because when the sun reflects right through somebody's nose, it usually looks or their hand, it usually looks pink or red. And the reason why it looks red is not because there's blood in their hand. It's because the color red is a wavelength that is different than the color blue. The color blue will bounce right off your skin because of the wavelength, but from the sun, but the color red will go right through. Okay, well, I will show you that again about the gloss, okay? So this product switches, you might want to write this down. So the PBR Skin switches their skin from Uber Iray base. It's the only product that I know that does this. It is the only product in the world that does this in Daz Studio. It's this PBR Skin switches Genesis 8 skin to Genesis 8.1 and Genesis 8.9 PBR base. That doesn't mean you can use their skin on Genesis 8 or 9. It just means that they have all the same parameters, okay? That all the different... So when you use Genesis 9, it's going to have this transmitted and SS and all these other colors and these specular lobes, okay? It's going to be PBR instead of Iray, which doesn't have these things, okay? So that's what that does. Now, this other product here is called PBR Skin Manager. Now, if you don't have the PBR Skin, so what I would suggest is convert your skin to PBR and buy this product. There's another product which is an Iray Skin Manager. And this product, what this product does is it makes it easier to get rid of the shine on your skin, because I think he's still got too much shine on his skin. So when I open this, when I select Holt and I open this product up, just click on gloss and bump here, and this DLS reflectivity, you bring that down and it always works. If I bring it all the way down, it moves like several dials. It like moves, it goes into your settings and changes all kinds of stuff. Like it brings up the roughness and all of that. And if you bring this all the way down, he basically doesn't have any more shine to his skin. There's a tiny bit there, and I think you might be able to bring this DLS weight down. Yeah, and so it basically works almost every time. You have this roughness, these lobe roughness. You can bring them up a little bit if you want. Those will also make his skin so he has basically no shine. Yes, it's the PBR, not the Iray Skin Manager. It's the PBR Skin Manager. Yep. And so even if you bring this roughness up, I think if you slide this reflectivity up, so you don't want to take all of the shine out of their skin. Now this has done something really weird, okay? As you can see, it's changed his, and it's because of something shining through, so we have to bring this back down and bring the weight back down. Or this weight back up a little. So I've done something, I think I've corrupted his skin. All you need to do is just bring this DLS down. Okay, and it gets rid of it. Oh, I know what this is. It's a kind of bug in Daz Studio. Because it's not with his skin. It's if I just save this, we'll call it save this and say file save as scene. We'll call this test 1. Okay, now if I go out of here, it's going to take a moment. I think I can go out of Iray and come back in. It might fix it also. Go to texture shaded. Now, I have this same problem. It happens with yeah, now it's gone. So I don't have to close it. It's a bug in Daz Studio. And it happened. It might only be with my computer because I have two 3090s. And so they're both trying to run at the same time. Do the Iray at the same time, and sometimes they might get out of sync. So it might, you may never have noticed this, but sometimes they get out of sync. But as you can see now, there's pretty much no shine, very little shine. You might see a little bit of shine because he's in a completely gray world, okay? And if I were to put a welcome people, welcome. If I were to put just an HDRI sky in here, then we would go here to our render settings and just put an HDRI sky in here. Anyone will do. Then you'll notice that he's not as shiny looking. You see how that takes the shine completely out? And you don't want to take the shine completely out. So we could go back and just you want that shine because it adds another layer of realism. So we go to this manager again, and we go down to utilities. We find this, and I would suggest bringing it up until you can see it. See, it's all the way off now. So I would, oh, this is not the diffuse roughness, this is gloss. So this reflectivity, now if I bring it all the way up, you'll see that it gets shiny again. Now notice how that looks better with just a little bit of shine. It just gives it, you don't want it off, okay? Just don't do that. Just always leave. You get it, and there, and the same lady who showcases, does videos and promotes this product, and she may be the one who initialized it, you know, put the team together to create and program all this. She's very, 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 very smart. She has a video series that is sold in the Daz store that explains all this stuff about, I believe she might have two of them, one for PBR textures and one for Iray textures. And I will tell you, that it's complicated. It's like fall asleep kind of stuff. You would just you start listening to it and yawning, and it goes right over your head. But if you listen to it enough, and eventually it starts to sink in. And it's because it's really complicated. It's physics. PBR. It's physics. It's how light bounces off the skin and causes the things that are under the skin to shine through the skin. It's not just like a bunch of dials that you say, oh, well, that makes it shiny and that makes it. It's physics. It's really complicated physics. And so you have to learn how light works and how it reflects off the skin. And like I was saying, like red light, that's why this in here, when you look at the surfaces, that's why when you go to the skin, well, we're in the torso, that's why there's these pink and red colors. Because when light passes through your hand, the blue light is a short wavelength. It can't penetrate your skin. That's why your hand, when you hold it up to the sun, isn't blue. It's not because there's blood in your hand, okay? It's because the red light has a longer wavelength, and it goes even into infrared light. There's red that goes like down through the spectrum, and then through blue, and then to red, and then to infrared. The red light has a long... So the red light can penetrate through your skin, through your nose, through your ears, like if the lights, and that's what causes this effect of these colors. And that's all I know. I don't know anymore. I don't know what happens when you change a lot of these things, other than that effect becomes stronger. And also, I do know how these work. The base and the translucency weight, they work. They are wonderful how they work. The base is the outer skin. It's the skin on the top, okay? And this translucency color is what's under the skin. And right now, since his base is turned off, it means that we're really looking, he has no skin. It's all under the skin is coming through and providing what you see, okay? So if I bring this up, this diffuse roughness up, it will turn up this base color. And what it will do is make him look whiter, because you see it's white, it's pure white. So it's a map, it's a skin map, but it's also a tint because it's tinted white. So when I bring this diffuse roughness up, he's not going to get incredibly white because you see this translucency weight is almost all the way up. So it's fighting that. But if I bring the translucency weight down, he's going to get very, very white. You see, and oh, it's only on his torso because I only have his torso selected in this particular case. So I could probably undo that and select his skin here. And that will select all of the skin parts on his body. So now when I bring this turn this off, then all you're seeing is the base color. See, this is the base color. And so if I make the base color, take the red out, it'll be greenish. See, that's the base color. And if I bring it all the way up, so I took the red out, all right? Or I take the green out. or I take out the blue. Okay? So my suggestion is never change these. Always leave that white. Okay? Just never change them. Always change the tone of the skin through this, through the translucency weight. Okay? So what you do is if you bring this up all the way, then it's going to be, it's completely covered this up. Okay? So what you want to do is you want to use this white because to add that white back into his skin. All right? So you bring it till you get the right whiteness. So and what and then these three things, they decide the tone of the skin tone. And so once you get it to the right whiteness, the right lightness, okay? If you want them to be dark skinned, you bring it all the way up. And if you want them to be really dark skinned, then you take all of these here and you bring them down. You just bring them way down. Okay, so the more down they come, the more darker. And that means that this, and you can select the lips so that they're part of this also, but that means that no base color is shining through because this is all the way up. It's just completely. So if I turn this off, it shouldn't change anything. See, it doesn't, because this is all the way up. So if I bring this down a little bit, then the white's going to show through. This is going to show through the skin. Now, so you just use this base for lightness. So you always leave that white. And that's how you set the lightness of the skin, is by this base. So you can leave that all the way up, okay? And just leave them all three, all the red, green, and blue, all the way up. So that when you come in here, the only time you ever change this is if you can't get the skin dark for some reason, then you might come in and just bump it down a little bit, okay? If the maps are really dark, okay, then you could bring it down, and this is how you change the brightness. Just to bring the maps down. It's for dark and light. That's really what you use this base color for. And then these three colors are for the tones. So if I turn this up a little more, just get it about where I think his skin should be, probably in about here. That's a pretty good color for him. Now I would also bring these up a little. So as I bring them up, it brings all three of those up. Okay. So now when as I look at his skin, I say, you know, his skin has too much. I could tell without even looking at these numbers that he's got too much red and too much blue. So I can fix that by just bringing up the green and balancing it out. Okay? And then then I can, if I want it lighter, I bring it down and it shows more of this white. If I want it darker, I bring it up. So these balance the tone and say, now at this level, there's too much red. So I bring the red down a little and keep bringing it down until, and now I could say, well, it's a little too much green too now. So bring the green down until it looks natural. See, and this, to me, his skin looks perfect now. At least in this lighting it does. And so this is how you take two characters and make their skin match. You don't want them exactly the same. You just don't want one of them like to be like really red looking. And I would say he's probably still a little red. And now look at this. Yeah, look, it's at 70. So if we just bring that down a little bit to, and now he looks too green. So a little bit less of the green and a little less of the green and the red. And this is how you set it. So you use this as your white to introduce white. And you do that by just bringing this down, because this is this color and this is this color. And you can just leave that all the way up unless there's a problem with it. And then you just bring it down. But it's just how you bring white into your figure. And then you work with this. And you get it to the darkness that you want. And then once you get it to the darkness that you want, this is dark, real dark, and this is real light. Just if you leave those alone, that's what you're going to get. Real dark and real light. And then this is how you change the tone. Okay? You change these numbers here. And you can't double click on them. You just have to drag your mouse and until and that's how you can change this color here. Or you can come in and just lighten it a bit, darken it a bit, and it changes all three numbers darker. But you can also darken it this way by just giving this more supremacy over that. And this will completely obliterate that out if you don't, if you bring it all the way up. Then this has no effect. So you could bring it down or up, and it's just not going to have any effect. This is the way to keep it simple. Just never touch these colors. Always leave them all the way up. And then it makes it simple how to set these. And now nobody taught me this stuff. I learned this by just spending like an entire couple days trying to figure out this stuff in it all, because I started out by changing these, and it does really weird. Like, notice what happens when I change these. Like, it throws everything off. Let's go to texture shaded. Watch what happens. It literally changes the way his skin looks in texture shaded mode. That just told me right off the bat that these were not things to mess with. Okay? You just leave them. Okay? Because it throws their skin right off. I'm sure you've probably messed with these and said, what, why did that happen? Just leave them up all the way and leave this up. And then you set the darkness through this. And for some reason now, it's decided not to work. Maybe we have to. So I'm not sure why this has decided not to work anymore. Roughness. Okay, translucency, wait. They're not working at all. I think I've broken it. Let's go. Oh, we're not in Iray, okay? So we go into Iray. And this is when you're going to see this work. Okay, that when it gets really dark. And if you want it darker, you come in here and you just slide this down like that. And that's how, and it's the same thing with his lips. You just take and select his lips, okay? And you just say, okay, they're too dark. I mean, they're too light, so just bring this down. That's a good place to start. And you bring it back and more. Now the diffuse roughness, it doesn't matter if that's all the way up, because the more you bring this down, and this is his lips, okay? The more you bring this down, the darker they're going to get. And then you can take and decide maybe there's too much red in them. For some reason, this doesn't seem to be working. Oh, it's not all the way up. Okay. So that little bit was a lot. So you bring this up and they'll have a little more red in his lips. And so then you can lighten it this way. Bring it this up again. And now he's got too much red in his lips. So you just change it until, and this kind of is an indicator of and now that they're kind of balanced, you could make them a little lighter. So there's still too much red. So you could bring the blue up and the green up and the blue up. And now that looks pretty good. So so this is how you work with these. It's all really here. The only thing I'll caution you about is that this top coat weight here, there's one of these is called top coat weight. Let's see. And you see, as you go down these, they lay on top and more on top of things. So if you're trying to change these and something has come in and put a color in here, where is the top coat weight? Now that may actually, yes, top coat. Now if you go into this, now this gives you another slider, and that's on top of this slider. So I could go like red and bring this top coat weight up. And what I thought it was going to do was just completely cover over that. But it didn't. See, I don't know a lot about this, but I just know that it's that these coat, that if you just change this to white, I believe, or black, if you change or turn the top coat weight off, then you can go back and edit things. Because this top coat weight is another layer over top. And there's also sparkles. There's a sparkle one. I don't think it's called sparkles, but it's called metal. Where's it called? Metal flake. Something flake. Metal flakes. We turn that on. And this can lay over top again. It's like a car when you have a fancy car. Now notice how his skin. Oh, it's because I got his lips selected. That's why it wasn't working. So we'll turn the metal flakes off. Let's go back to his skin surface. Okay, we'll go back to top coat weight. And when we enable this and we turn this top coat weight up, he should turn white. Now, see how it put a coat on the outside? So it's another layer even further than, so as you go down this list, things kind of stack up on top of things. Just like this base coat is underneath this translucency color. And it's theoretically layers as you go down. things end up on top of stuff. This transmitted coat, I don't understand a lot of these, but I'm trying to impart what I do know. So the top coat weight, if I were to turn this to blue, you'll see now he's got a blue coat on top of and the reflectivity, the roughness, so you can make it shiny. If you turn this down, the top coat shiny or rough. So it all depends on, and if you don't want it to be on, I think you can go to black, but I think black is kind of turning it off, but you can also just turn it off. And then these will work again. You won't have those colors interfering with what you're trying, with the color that you're trying to get in your figure. So I think that's, I'll just kind of, we'll do one more figure. We'll bring in another Genesis 8 figure. Let's see, Genesis 8. And find another figure. We'll convert. Oh, I said what we'll do is we will do a Genesis 2 figure. Okay? I don't have a lot of them, but we'll find, they got to be way down at the bottom here. So let's go to Genesis. Find a Genesis 2 figure. We're down in the Michael. Let's see. Eva, I don't know which ones of these are Genesis 2. I don't use them very often. Some of these have got to be Lee. Michael 7. Okay, so there's Victoria 8. So they've got to be down in here. These are Genesis 3 probably. Let's try this. Let's try Cole for Gianni 7. Okay, now it might say down here what they are in the info. Okay, here's the Genesis 3 Starter Essentials. There might be a Genesis 2 Starter Essentials. There it is. We'll use the Genesis 2 male base because I have some underwear I can put on him. And so what we'll do is we'll convert his Iray skin to PBR, and then we can go in and we're going to have all those other PBR settings. Now look how kind of really terrible white and all his skin. It just kind of looks icky. And so we're going to go now into this PBR, and now what we're going to do is select the Create Translucency. So I think his skin has only one. It doesn't have all those layers and dimensions, okay, that the PBR skin has. So we're going to, you would keep, this one works for Genesis 8 alone, and this one works for 2, 3, and 8. So you can create a translucency this way, but we're going to use that now. I have a feeling when it puts this PBR base on that suddenly this skin is going to look really, really good. So now, if I'm not mistaken, I think Genesis 2 was the figure that you could switch back and forth. You could use male clothes on them and female clothes on. I'm not sure exactly. So I don't recall. I don't use the Genesis 2 figures, but I mean, there's a possibility of now using them now because being able to switch them to an Uber base. Now, this does not mean, again, that you can take the Genesis 8 textures and put them on Genesis 2. Okay, just because they're PBR, because they have a different UV map, and so you can't. You can only use Genesis 2 textures, but the thing is, what you can do is make these textures look a little better. So because you have these other tools at your disposal here. So now see, this does look better. Now the eyes look a little bit bright, but there again, now if we take this Genesis, I think there's something weird with, okay, this says male base. Okay, there should be some textures here for the male. Lumberjack, girl. Okay, so if I put another texture on him, I'd have to convert it again. So there's something odd with this texture. I think we got, it's still part female. So I'm not sure how that works. So we could try one of these. Now we get down into these Genesis. There's Genesis 3, so these would, okay, I think this least might be materials, material base, Genesis 2, and it doesn't say whether if it's Iray or not. All right, so this says it has an SS base, which means it's almost going full circle, where some of these earlier ones were PBR. So let's try putting his texture on, because like I said, you're not changing it. It's still going to only accept the PBR textures. The Genesis 2 will only work with the Genesis 2, Genesis 8, 6, Genesis 3 will work with the Genesis 3. I think this made that texture just immediately look better. Now his eyes look too light, but you just go in and darken them up with your PBR sliders. So it's changing his base. Let's see, this should work. It says Genesis 2 male. Now this is the T pose. It's not the A pose. And what's kind of interesting is this has makeup. So you could take and use this makeup on this figure, run this script, and convert it to PBR. So then you could make this makeup look really good with all those layers that come with PBR. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll put some of this makeup on him, and then we'll convert it and see how it converts. Now what's happened is I converted him to the PBR, and now it's converting him back to, I believe, some form of Iray or something else. I'm not sure exactly, but all that matters is that okay, so we've got something going on weird here too again. So I think that's in this character there is a a male. There are some parameters here. Male. This be Genesis 3 male. Okay, there we go. That converts, and there's still something weird going on here. Currently used here. Let's get out of Iray here. Okay, what are these? What have we got here? Michael 4 body. Okay, that kind of fixed something there. And I forgot that I had this here. And I'm wondering if I have a Michael 4 head here. Michael 6 head. So that would be what you'd want to do, is convert that Michael 4 to Michael 3, and then from Michael 3 to Michael 8, and then you would have, and then from Michael 8 to Michael not to into Genesis 9. I mean to Genesis. Okay, so I think this looks kind of sort of more natural. There's still something weird going on here, but okay, these are all of the Hector head. Michael 4 head. That's weird. So we go into the currently used, and we can take this Genesis 3 male out. Now that does sort of look like Michael. It really does, because he had. And we just take this down a little bit so that's not all the way up. Now let's go back here to this smart content. Let's try some of this makeup stuff. Let's put this on. Now he's back to, if we go now to our surfaces, you see this is ambient, so this isn't even Iray. This is the old 3 Delight. Okay, so all of his colors are 3 Delight. So we're really testing this product out, because we're gonna click on him, and we're gonna put this mask on, and let's put some of these funky eyes on him, and see how they convert. So these green, let's see the gold. See, these are working on him. So what are these? Oh, they're reflections on the eyes. Okay. All right. So let's go with this. We got oh, that's the sclera maybe. All right. Let's go with something bright that we can see. Those are for Genesis 2. It's taking a while for that one to go on. All right, so this is a Genesis 2 character, and what we've done is taken and put this makeup that came with it, and now his skin is 3 Delight. So we go to surfaces, and you can see this is ambient and diffuse, and all of these are all 3 Delight. So we're going to click on this script now and convert this mask, the eyes. It should convert everything here to PBR. This is the ultimate test, to take a Genesis 2 figure with this makeup, skin, and all of this weird stuff, the eye textures and all of this. That means also if we were to put tattoos on him and all of those other things, that's what you want to do, is test it and make sure and see if those textures all go over to PBR. A lot of them are just layers, but what this kind of does is make these Genesis 2 figures even useful, because you can just, in one click, you can turn their skin to PBR. And the thing is there's the clothing issue and auto fit and all of that. But a lot of them have like tattoos and like this makeup stuff. A lot of them have really cool add-on things to them. So and you can pick them up for next to nothing. They're like a steal right now in the Daz store. You can get them for like $1, you know, these figures. And they have all kinds of cool stuff like this makeup stuff. So now he's Iray, PBR Iray. So we're still waiting for it to finish this process. So now, look at this. So we have this figure here, who's his skin. Let's go into Iray. And see, I have a lot of clothes that I have a lot of clothes that I never use hardly, because they just would go right on him. So let's see texture. We'll go into Iray and see what he looks like. And then we're going to take a look at the surfaces and see if we got all our PBR. Look at that skin. He's even got veins. Look at this. Look at you can see his vascular system, I guess it's called. So this is really, really, really nice for Genesis 2. And then we go here to our Genesis 2 male. And look at this. This is all PBR now. So we can, now I would say his skin color is a little too light. So we go now and select again skin here. And we can go here to our translucency color. And we can bring this up a little more. And like I said, if you bring this all the way up and they don't get darker, you can just bring this down a little bit. Look at that vascular work in there. So there we go. This is Genesis 2. And it's a viable figure now. It can be completely used in your scenes just as you would use any other. And now you got fingernails. His fingernails look a little bit light. So we go here and find skin surfaces. We open this up. Where are fingernails? Hands. Legs. Teeth, tear, shoulders, sclera. You get all of these are now. Okay, now I'm seeing that the eyes have not been converted. Okay, well, any part of the skin has. The pupils, the eyes are not. So what you could do, I believe, is just put Genesis 8 eyes on this. You can also, let me see. Let's see what happens when we put Genesis 8 eyes on. Because that would immediately switch them over to Iray. Materials. Eyes. That just switched them. Now The eyes, any Genesis 8 eyes will work on Genesis 2. This should make them green. Are they green? You've got Michael's face. Yes, they are green. And now these ones. And so now you can go into the surfaces here and like pick the sclera. Now if the sclera is too dark, okay, this it didn't change the sclera. So what I have another program, it's called 3DEL, and what you do is you run this. It's the RISI 3 Delight to Iray converter, and you run this and you scan your scene. And it just says the Genesis 2 male. It says find matches. Okay, let's apply that and see what happens. Accept. Now what did that just do? Now let's go to this, back to the skin surfaces. I believe it changed him back to let's see, skin, base color, well, what we do is now we check and see these irises and sclera, transmitted color. Okay, now the irises. Let's see. This was the sclera. Okay, so that just changed the sclera to Iray, and then you select him again, and you just do it again. Run the converter, convert him back to PBR. And then your eyes, the sclera is also, so if there's any kind of remnant or orphan left over from this conversion process, you can fix that by running this 3 Delight to Iray. So you can convert these to Iray and then to PBR, so that if they're 3 Delight, because this it changed almost everything except, and now everything here. Now when we select the sclera is actually PBR, which is, you know, a form of, and when we look at this figure, I don't know what this figure was called again. So let's now move to our Genesis 3 figure. Now the Genesis 3 figure should already be Iray, but I think it was in the middle of Iray, and also let's find a Genesis 3 figure. Okay, these are still Genesis 8. We're getting there. That's Genesis 3, so anything after here is Genesis 3. So this Michael 7. Let's do Michael 7. Okay, Michael 7, bring him into the scene. Well, I am glad that that you guys have liked these products and that you go out and purchase them, because it means that we're all on the same page. So now Michael is probably, let's see, we go to surfaces, and Michael is Iray, Michael 7, which he would be like Genesis 3. So he'd be like a Genesis 3 figure. And so, but all of his textures are Iray, but they're not PBR. And when I look at his skin, just the first thing that pops out to me is there's too much green in his skin. Okay, so just he was released, at least from my perspective, with too much green in his skin. And if I were to just come in here and select his skin, you learn to notice these things and go to the translucency color and take this green down a little bit. And now I would also bring this up a little bit and make him a little darker. That's too much. So now his skin, he just doesn't seem to have a lot of real detail in his skin. Yeah, he's got some there. So it's not. But let's see what happens when we convert him to PBR. Does his skin just all of a sudden come alive? Is that, because that's what I'm expecting here. Okay, no, I didn't want to render.
I didn't understand that.
Echo stop. Okay, so we go to PBR, and since he's Genesis 3, we're going to do the create translucency. So this should change his skin in some way. His skin still looks green to me. So I'm not sure what's doing that, but this should fix it. So it's changing. So that's one thing, is that the eyes, that there may be some orphans left over. The eyes may not completely convert. Now, sometimes when you take like Genesis 8 eyes and put them on Genesis 3 or whatever, some of the eyes only replace the iris, and some of them replace the sclera as well. It's just the way eyes are. Some of them are complete eyes, and some of them just replace the iris. So this just kind of balanced his skin out. It doesn't look green to me anymore. It doesn't seem, it looks too light, but it also, and we can just kind of change. It looks balanced. It does look a little green though, but it looks balanced. We can do that by just bringing this down a little bit. That's a little too much. I think he needs a little red in his skin. And we may have to adjust his mouth separately. Maybe some red. Yeah, and maybe a little blue. Yeah, so I mean, just maybe a little too much red. So, yeah, there we go. Now, this is very nice for Genesis 3. And now we have another figure where he's, and you can tell it's Genesis 3 because he's still in that T pose. So let's put some Let's build something here with this figure here, this Michael. It's the first time I've used him. So we're going to find some wardrobe that actually fits him. And some poses and all. Wardrobe. Let's put this on him. This is, I never hardly use these because they're made for Genesis 3, you know. So, you know, there's probably a lot of good artwork that's been done on these. So we just find a pose now and some hair. And we've got, so we're looking for poses. Let's go here to this. Now I have a ton of poses that I hardly ever use because they're for Genesis. Well, actually, I've converted those poses to Genesis 8 and 9. So I can use all my Genesis 3 poses in Genesis 9. So we'll go standing. There are a lot of good poses. I mean, a lot of things back then, they didn't have anything. They didn't have a lot of clothes and a lot of things like we have now. So so they spent a lot of time just making poses. And it's kind of nice that, 'cause there are a lot of grabbing his behind here. So let's see what we got here. These poses look does look like a nice pose on him. You know, now it does give him a level of realism, and he's got some nice kind of HD sort of look to his arms. They don't just look like, there's a little bit. Now his fingernails are too light. So we've got to find a, see, these are really nice poses. And they come right up. That's the problem. They don't show up a lot. Okay, let's take his fingernails. Let's look at them up close. We'll look at these ones. And let's adjust our, they're just too light. Now we're going to see what arms. Okay, surfaces, nails. There they are. Fingernails, toenails. And now we have this base translucency. And we bring them down first so we can kind of see what color they are. Because when they're real bright like that, we can do that also by bringing this up a little bit. And I'd say we could bring this down just a hair. Just darken them up a little bit. Now see what happens. Once you get them in the right, then you can look and say, what do they have? Too much green? I'd say they could use a little more red in them and a little less green. And they look shiny. So too shiny, kind of a little bit. They have a lot of shine on them. So I think a little bit of roughness. Diffuse roughness. I don't think that actually works unless, because that's kind of Bump enable. I think there's a roughness down in here. We are working with PBR. So this would be... Now there used to be like a shine. We have these specular lobe roughness. I think these replaced shine. Or there was like a shine or glossiness. We don't have that anymore. We have these. And how they work, I have no idea. I know so much, and that's it. So if we bring this roughness up on the fingernails, yeah, that took some of the shine out. Now, I think there's, you see these have a ratio, and so they don't work the way you think they work. They're like in tandem, and so they have to balance out, kind of, with this ratio. It's math, all right? So, but I think we got them, like when we zoom out now, his fingernails aren't going to look just like completely white and weird. Yeah, see, now they look natural. So he's got to have some hair and maybe a beard. I think he'll look really good. So let's find smart content, some hair. I get to use things that I don't normally use, like ever. Oh, this is good hair. This is a good beard right here. There we go. Now that looks good on him. Very nice. That's like one of my favorite beards that I own, and it's was made pretty much for Genesis. Now we have the classic side part hair. This would be nice for Genesis 3. And we'll darken it a little bit. Now, this is Iray hair, but it still works the same way. So you can come into here and you say, oh, I want the hair darker. So you come into this translucency here, and you just bring this down a little bit, darken it. Make it darker. And bring this up. And bring this down more. And you could bring it right to black. And it should, oh, we just made his fingernails black. Okay, now I think his fingernails look right. We gotta select the right thing here. It's like, see, and it should be working. I don't know why. Okay, so we're gonna, okay, we don't want to change the hair cap. Not yet, okay? So we just want to change the hairs. So we take and go here to this translucency. And as you can see, it's mostly letting this color, this base color, come through in the white. Because this is so low. Now if I bring it up, it's not going to change much because this is white too. So, but we're going to change the color here. So we bring this up and this starts to take over. And that's where we can change the darkness and the lightness. So if it doesn't go dark on us, then we come in here, bring this down. That's the darkness. And there you go. See, you can go even more if you need to. Wow. And you can go to black if you want with this translucency color. not going to go all the way to black, but there you go. And you see, it's still letting like half of this white come through. So if I bring this up more, it's going to show more of this. You see, it just got really dark. So I think that's too dark. It's nice how these work. It's really nice. And the diffuse roughness, I told you that you had to have that all the way up. That has to do with the amount of shine that is on this base color. And so if you have this all the way up, there's no shine on just this color. Okay? So it's, you don't want it all the way up because you want to have this diffuse roughness, you know, at a reasonable place so that there's a little bit of shine on this color that's shining through. And that looks really, really, really good. This is amazing. So now let's put him in some kind of place. Coffee shop, cafe maybe. Now I'm not sure that I like his skin tone yet. There's just something about his skin that isn't interesting to me yet. And I don't think it has enough character to it. But let's see now. So we go into, we'll put him in an environment and then do the finishing touches on, because the environment will reflect back certain things. So environments, we're going to look into products, environments. Unselect that. Default, environments. Okay. Here we got a well, we'll put him in the retro apartment. Merge that into the scene. Yeah. Now we'll see how this room reflects him in, you know, now you see he's got too much blue in his skin. But first I'm going to put a light on him. So we'll put a spotlight. Now, if you're confused about using spotlights or point lights, I will tell you that almost 100% of the time, I use spotlights. Because spotlights give you drama, okay? And spotlights aren't very natural because, you know, we don't have spotlights on us everywhere we go, okay? Usually it's gigantic sources like light coming in from a window or something, very ambient light. But the thing about spotlights is they give you a really nice drama in your scene, and that's what you want. You want something dramatic that pops out at people. So we're going to go into texture shaded mode so I can move this light around. And now we're going to look through the spotlight. And I could click on Michael and then click this here and the spotlight will just point at him. Then we can click back to here. Now you want to come at an angle. So we'll pick this side. And you don't want to go too high like this. You'd think, oh, I want it to point down on his body. But that will just make his eyes completely black from shadow. So you have to come, unfortunately, you have to come at least enough to hit his eyes. So, and now we go back to our perspective view. Let's put a camera in the scene. New camera. And go from this perspective. I kind of like this angle here. So we'll go into Iray and then we'll give the camera a little bit of light. Maybe his skin will snap out of it. His skin isn't like far off from, so there's not enough light coming out of the spotlight yet. So we go to parameters down here. And oh, that's my camera. Okay, spotlight is like, where's luminosity? All right, let's go to 5 here. And we'll make this a little bit warmer. And as you can see, there's a very big, gigantic shadow there. Now I can take and go into the light geometry and make a rectangle and then make it wider. And the height. And that just made that shadow almost completely disappear. So, there's still something a little it might be the clothing. I don't know, the pants look, it just something. I don't think it's Michael himself. I think it's the clothing. The pants look a little cartoonish. But I'm just used to clothing that has a little bit more something to it. Now I wonder if these pants are, let's see where the pants are. Jeans. I wonder if anything that's on him is, sometimes it's good to just run dForce on things. So we go to initially, we don't want him out of the pose, and just simulate, see what happens. See what, okay. No objects to simulate. Let's take these pants and try putting dForce on them. Object, geometry, dForce modifier, dynamic surface. Okay, let's simulate and see what, if they blow up, they blow up. But if they don't, then they might hang off him a little better. See, they're working to some degree. Oh, they blew up. So they won't work. Cancel. It worked for just a moment. I think if I took his boots off, or hide his boots and hide his shirt, I might be able to get a, so we clear this. Okay, let's hide his t-shirt. And we have to hide, we have to move his hand away from his jeans. Parameters. Up here. So that nothing is touching his jeans, and then it may not blow up. So let's see, we go out of here. Go to parameters. And we just bend his arm out a little bit so it's not, we're sure it's not touching his pants. Okay, and then we can bring it back later. And then there are boots, I think. Where are the boots? Left foot. Has he got boots on? Well, it's hard to tell. There are boots here, right? Yeah. Well, let's zoom right down on these feet. No, he doesn't have boots on. So it could have just been the shirt, and it could have been his hand. Or it just could be that these pants are just completely unstable. So, but we do have a, okay, now let's go back to our camera view. we do have, now let's go back to simulation settings and try to run a simulation on them. Oh, no, it's not going to let us do that. Cancel. So we could look for some other genes that may look a little more natural. So let's find some genes and put them on him. Let's undo that. Go back to the... That was horrible. Simulation settings and clear that. Let's find some dForce pants that will hang a little bit. I mean, I don't know what it is about them, but they just kind of look cartoonish. It's the era of the art. So we're going to select Michael 7 again, because he looks pretty realistic. I think we've got something here. I love all these earthy tones here. Should put a candle here, and you know, put some stuff here. Make it look livable. So we're going to go to wardrobe. Okay, we'll go to files like this. And wardrobe. And then we'll go to pants. And these jam jeans. I don't think that's what we have here. We have just jeans. Let's try the jam jeans. Now let's turn off. Okay, there's jeans too. I think that's what we have here. All right. So yeah, that was the jam jeans. We go here back to wardrobe, back to pants. These are jam jeans. They're Iray, but they're not. Bad boy pants. We're looking for dForce. Usually, sometimes they say dForce right in the... I don't know that Genesis 3 was in the era of dForce. But some of these might work. Montana pants. Let's try them. They might just look better right out of the... So let's take these jeans too out. Now the Montana pant. Okay, Z. I'm going to lock my camera. Edit. Object. Lock. Oh, we got to select the camera. Okay, lock. Selected nodes. Okay, camera's locked. Well, Z. What did I do wrong here? Edit. Object. Lock. Now it better be locked. Yeah, okay, the camera's locked. Okay. Perspective mode. View. These pants just aren't fitting right, I don't think. So what we got to do is scoot them down. Here, so go to parameters. And there might be some... Oh, we're on the camera. Where are the Montana pants? Okay. adjust buttocks, adjust hips. Okay, these have they should have smoothing and all that. Enable smoothing. Okay, now we adjust the hips. They're not smoothing very well. Collision iterations. There we go. They're snapping on our Montana pants. Adjust hips. Bring them out a little bit. But that's adjusting the waist. Hips. Thighs. No, not them. So what we'll do is, how's the butt doing? Let's go here to texture shaded. Turn on the light. These are terrible. The stuff that people had to do to deal with back then. And they didn't even have, no, not the thighs, the hips. They didn't even have mesh grabber. Okay, so I think we've got this. The hips, okay, so we smoothing iterations. Bring this up a little bit. That just made it much worse. What did I do? Collision iterations. Generic, we go to base shape. Okay, so what we do is we just go here to mesh grabber. We grab this, make this a little bigger. 8, not 80, 8. Go to 10. And if his hand is touching his leg, that's why we've got, no, it's not. So what we're going to do is make this smaller, down to 3. Oh, that won't work. It's got to be a little bigger. 5, not 55. Okay, this might work. Z. And there we go. Oh, we got a spot here. Sometimes you fix these and when you go to render, there's another poke through that in the render. It won't show here. It will only show in the render. That's just the way it is. So, okay, how are we doing? I think they look pretty cool. So let's get out of here. Go back to our camera. Let's turn his shirt back on and see how that looks with this. Okay, we got another mess with his shirt. We got to tuck his shirt in. So we go back to here, perspective view, back to our tool setting, back to mesh grabber. And then we take and select this shirt. Just push it in. Till it goes in underneath the shirt. Till it goes under the belt. Okay. It's a weird angle here. I'm pulling too much on it. Now I've got a hold of Michael. Okay, don't want to do that. What's up with this? Why? Okay. Don't really have to do behind him because nobody's going to see that, but we might as well anyway. Where's our shirt? T-shirt. Ah. It kind of snaps in the right place usually, so it's not like this is difficult to do. It sort of snaps. It knows where it's supposed to kind of go. Not all. The older the clothing is, the less it knows about that stuff. But it kind of knows where it's supposed to go. Around the corners are not very easy. Okay. Why is okay? Oh, that's because we're working on Michael again. Edit. Undo mesh on Michael. Every once in a while it doesn't quite connect, and I end up going and deforming Michael underneath. And that's not good at all. It's very hard to fix that. Now we're doing it again. Control C. Okay, let's grab the t-shirt again. There it is. It snapped right in there. Now we're on Michael again. See? Back to the t-shirt. Okay. Back to the t-shirt. There are just so many things like details, you know, in doing this. I'm not going to make that perfect. You can't see that. Okay, back to the camera. Now, I like these pants better than the other pants just because there's something a little more. But I'm not positive now. But they're dark enough to hide, kind of not be so obvious. Okay, 9. Let's see what this looks like in Iray. He doesn't need shoes because you can't see his feet in the camera's view. Let's see what our light looks like. Okay, now we got to do something with his arm here. Just looks stiff. Parameters. Bend again. I think what I'm going to do is, now I don't know if this will work with him. And I don't have it here. It's a pose program that locks poses. And it's called Pose. All right, we're going to look under Utilities. It's called Pose. It would be here. This is another program you're going to want to run right out and buy. Okay, and I don't know if it's going to work with him, but let's see. Fusion, I think it's Pose Fusion. All files. I don't think this is it. No. Okay, it's another one. It might be under scripts. No, pose. Let's see what this pose for Genesis to Genesis 8. I don't think this is it because no, it's not. Because it comes with all kinds. This is an amazing product. It's not a pose converter. So I've just got to get rid of this and go right through these and find it. Dial fusion, no. And the lady who made this, made this Iray Skin Manager, also made this pose program. And I haven't used it in a while. Oh, I know why it's not showing up, because I have this stuff selected here. Pose. Okay, let's turn this context thing off. Utilities. There we go. Pose mixer, I think it is. This is it. This is amazing. And I don't know if this works for Genesis 3, but we're going to find out. At scripts to menu. And which one of these adds them to scripts to Mendaz? In Daz, in menu. And this one is, I don't know what's the difference here. Scripts 3. In menu, Daz. Oh, Daz Connect. We don't want that. We want this one. Okay, so you install them. All right, so we go up here. Now you have this 3-digit times up here. And this is where it's amazing. Here we go to this pose mixer. And you see what I can do is I can lock all bone rotations. So we select Michael. Hopefully this works on Mike on this. Lock all bones. Okay, now when I come in here to parameters, I can't move him. Let's select like this. And see, they're locked. I can't move anything. His whole body is locked. Okay, and this is what's cool about this. Then you can come in here and say, unlock his, what is this, right arm. Unlock that. So then if I put a pose on him, it will only pose his arm because everything else is locked. Now that is cool. So I can just try all kinds of poses on him and find the right one that does something with his arm, that, or fingers, or legs, or head. Okay, you can come in here and you can say, with this pose mixer, you can say unlock unlock the unlock all bones, or unlock the upper body, so that when you try a pose it just changes from the waist up, or unlock the head and neck, unlock the lower body, right arm. So if one part of your figure is doing something that you just kind of don't like that much, you can go in and lock the whole thing. That's what you do, lock the whole thing, and then unlock the part that you want to change, and then you go to your poses and you find a pose. We'll go here to standing poses, open arms. So here, look at this. Okay, that's not a pose for him. That's a Genesis 9 pose. You have to make sure you have the content on, and then we'll see how this works. So this one, just try one. See, it's not quite what we want, but the only thing that moved on him was his arm, though. Okay, these might be parts of the body. Now, see, there we go. See how easy that was? Now I can come back up in here, go to the pose mixer, and unlock all bones. And see how sweet that is? That is Pose Mixer, and the same lady who teaches Pose Mixer and how to use it, she has videos on YouTube. She's the same one who made this Skin Manager. I mean Skin Manager, I think it is. The PBR Skin Manager. And she has, like I said, she has tutorials that teach you about what all of the PBR skin things do. I learned a lot from that, but the stuff I learned, like about not changing the base and leaving the base white, I learned that by just working with it. It's like I couldn't get my characters. I'd put two characters in the scene, and their skin didn't match. And so what I was doing was putting the same skin on my characters, because it would at least match, and then just slightly changing their skin a little bit, so that and it was just it was a horrible, like, band-aid trying to fix that, because I didn't know how to get there. And I knew what I wanted. I knew that I wanted them in what I called the same gamut. I didn't know what that really meant, but that seemed to be the word that I was looking for. Because, like, even if you have a black person and a white person and they're in the same scene together, you don't want the black person's skin, like, all red and the white person's skin all blue. You want them to be in the same gamut, okay, to have a natural look to their skin. And that's the thing, is that these artists that make these figures, they make them kind of like in a vacuum. They don't have other figures that I know of that they compare them to. They don't take, like, Michael 8 and put him in the same, and then adjust the skin to kind of sort of go along with his gamut. So they'll put them out, and so you have some characters that their skin is way heavy red, and they have beautiful skin. It's just that tone that needs to be fixed. So let's see what this looks like. So I think that is perfect for his hand. So I hope that was helpful for... Now his hand isn't completely touching his head. I think I need to come in and fix that. I think it needs a lamp on the table here. So my camera's locked, which is good. So we're just going to come up here and gently bring his hand in. That would be... I forget how to twist. I mean, which twist it would be. Oh, this one. Okay, so we go to parameters. Twist that in a little bit. Twist this a little bit. as a DAS person, you have to do your time posing. You have to spend your time posing fingers. You have to spend your time. You have to put some time into posing, and just that, and then it becomes easy. It becomes easy to pose. At one point, I thought I don't even want to buy poses. I'll just pose these figures myself. But then I realized how easy it can be to have something get the pose in the ballpark, so you don't have to work so hard. Now these fingers, one of them is they're touching the head, and when they touch these Genesis 3 just better if they're not even kind of close to the head. They like to separate away from the. They're just temperamental about being touched. And I don't know if you all know about pants, but if pants have pockets, you can they can put their hands in the pockets. Like these pants here, they don't have pockets, but if they had a pocket here, if you put their hand close enough to that pocket and push against that pocket with their hand, it'll go in that pocket. That's the way these pants are made. So the pocket will go right around the hand. Yeah, for most pants, you can put their hand right in the pocket. So, all right, let's find a table lamp. Let's look for a lamp. And we need to Control Alternate minus is the hotkey that I have set up to. You can go into your hotkeys, and I use Control Alternate minus, and it minuses all these so that that I don't have a big long open tree, so I don't have to close everything one by one. I set that hotkey up. So we need a table lamp. About something like this. No, it's too tall. I was thinking it would just be a table kind of lamp. Something like this would work, but it's just not kind of interesting enough right now. Thinking, these little lamps are beautiful. The Betty, I think, I don't know what they go by the name of Betty, and I assume it's a woman, and she makes a bunch of like furniture stuff, and when her stuff comes onto the Daz store, it's like $2 and $3 for like all kinds of furniture and stuff. Very good products. I think that's a little too much. I don't even know. I think I was going to put it here somewhere, but that looks like a table there. I think would be a good place for a lamp, but oh, here we go. Nice little wooden lamp. Hopefully it's got a bulb that works, and it's Iray. If it's not, we'll convert it to Iray, and we'll convert the bulb to Iray. And okay, parameters X. Z, Y. I think that's a table right there too. No, I think it's got to go here. I've got to go over here and look and see what all this is here. Oh, it's a... Okay. It's just all in shade. It's like a step up kind of thing. I can't tell if it's straight, if I'm in the middle or what. No, see? Okay, that works. And now we got to make sure that we're not up in the air. And we are. And then you have to go and look again and make sure that you're back in the middle of the table. And we're not. That's why the left and right, and they're very important. I did a lot of different view stuff way back with Bryce. You're always switching your view, you know, in Bryce. So let's see if this lamp has light. It would be nice if it's just all lit up and ready to go. It is. Look at that. And so I'm going to make this light on him a little softer. A little. So we go to parameters. Now where I got the camera, spotlight. Now I'm kind of getting ready to sort of his legs have kind of got a weird, you know, his pelvis is weird, but if I move his pelvis, I think I'd have to redo all of his pants. He's kind of got a weird, it's just I put him in a weird pose and I don't know why, but so it's just gonna have to, so we're gonna now let's bring this, let's make this a little softer, this color, and maybe a little less. Let's go to like 3, a little less light. Okay, so I think that kind of does it. Maybe one more, take it down a little more. The light, that's too much. 2. Yeah, I think that works. I've got to bend his pelvis. Something's just not right about the way he's kind of haunched there. Let's see if I really screw it up, I'll fix it. But this is what practice in posing does. It teaches you to see, to notice stuff like this. And his legs, he's kind of got to turn out. Weird kind of little turnout. And they're bent. Okay, let's bring this leg in a little bit. just a little more natural. This side to side thing is kind of weird. This leg is kind of curved in and twisted. So, he reminds me of somebody, and I don't know who it is now. All of a sudden, I'm looking at that face and saying, I know who you are. I know who you are. You remind me of somebody. I don't know who it is. Oh, that light is just beautiful in there. How about a kitty cat laying on the couch? I don't know. I think this is good. So I wonder what's behind the red door. So let's save this. This is test 1. And let's do a render. I think this is going to do it for this PBR skin texture. We are working with one-click PBR skin. So just to recap, my suggestions here is to pick up. I did, you know, it's expensive. It's $20 right now, but it's $9 off. It's 30% off. But it converts all of your Genesis 8 character skin to Genesis to PBR. And then these other products I've had for a long time, and that's the Skin Manager for PBR. And also, I would get this Pose Fusion, Pose Mixer. Those are very, very awesome, awesome products. To be able to just lock a figure and then unlock their arm. Now, you can't do it for everything. Like, you can't lock them and unlock a finger or something. You have to, it's just the arms and the legs and the torso and the neck up, the things like that. Kind of important things, though. So that's so this Pose Mixer is absolutely a must-have product. And as you can see, it works for Genesis 3, Genesis 8. I believe it also works for Genesis 9. It's an amazing, getting all stuffy. I've not been getting good sleep lately. I've been up burning the midnight oil, working on Blender, getting stuff, just falling asleep in my chair. So, I kind of like that he's not looking at the camera, where he's kind of, it's like this awareness that he's aware of the camera. But I think he looks really amazing for a Genesis 3 character. And we nailed it, because now those pants look really, they're just hanging off him just right. This is all good. Very good. The shirt looks a little bit kind of cartoonish, but it's fine. It's all good. And he blends right into the scene. His skin tone fits very nicely into the scene. So, all right, this is going to do it for me. Thank you very much for watching. The people come in, they see them, they watch them, and they're not necessarily here during the. We got 5 likes tonight. YouTube has been sharing my these videos, so thank you. Thanks to YouTube. Big thanks to YouTube. I wouldn't have an income if it wasn't for YouTube. So, all right, take care, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for, if you made it this long, thanks. Thank you very much for hanging out with me and spending this special time with me. It means a lot to me. So I will see you. We're gonna play a little bit of joyful music here, and I will see you again. This is Rex Red saying so long for now, and I will be back with some more awesome DAS, all things about DAS and 3D, EZ3DTV. Please like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, click for the bell for all notifications, and then YouTube will be sure to notify you when I am live. All right, I will see you again soon.